Welcome to the Explainer. Now, today, we're looking at a story that's absolutely exploded online recently. But, I want to approach this one a little differently. Because right now, this isn't just some wild internet conspiracy story. We're talking about real people, real families, real grief that honestly has just been turned into meme content and a political football by people who never really stopped to ask, hey, what is this actually like for the people left behind? So in this explainer, we're stepping away from all the wild speculation. We're going to look strictly at the facts, the data, and the deeply human cost behind this entire mystery. So here's the stark reality of the situation we're examining today. 10 scientists, all of them either dead or completely missing, all within the exact same window of time. And these weren't just everyday lab workers, right? We're talking top-tier nuclear researchers, aerospace engineers, biotech specialists. For months, the internet just wrote this off as a crazy conspiracy theory. The mainstream media completely dismissed the pattern, calling it pure fear-mongering. Even the White House was questioned about it and just brushed it off. Officially, every single one of these cases was ruled an individual event. A tragic accident here, a medical emergency there, a suicide, or just an unexplained disappearance. Nobody in charge was connecting the dots. But then the BBC got involved, and they actually did the legwork. They tracked down the families of these 10 individuals. Now, this BBC piece, it is careful, it's measured, it absolutely does not sensationalize the tragedy. But what they uncovered when they finally spoke to these families, quietly, carefully, and in their own words, literally shifted the entire narrative overnight. Because what those families revealed is, quite frankly, way more disturbing than anything the online conspiracy communities ever came up with. It revealed this chilling reality that just forced everyone to take a second look.
Section 1. The Missing 10 and Mapping the Pattern.
Okay, let's dive into this, because we really need to look at the undeniable facts connecting these individuals. 10. That is the number of American citizens we are talking about here. 10 highly educated, incredibly specialized individuals who either vanished or lost their lives. But the thread that binds them all together, every single one of these 10 Americans was intimately connected to extremely sensitive government research programs. They were working on some of the absolute most classified defense initiatives in the United States. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the highly specific intersection of disciplines and locations at play here. Look at this. We are looking at experts in nuclear physics, aerospace engineering, and biotechnology. That is the exact intersection of fields that underpins America's most classified defense programs. And it goes deeper. At least 4 of these scientists had direct ties to Southern California. Why does that matter? Because that's the home to some of the most secretive military contractors on the planet. We're talking about Lockheed's Skunk Works, Northrop Grumman's Advanced Systems Division, the highly restricted facilities that are actively building technologies the general public literally won't even hear about for another 20 years. And watching the official response evolve has been really something. Initially, like we said, these were all ruled as individual, isolated tragedies. Then came the total dismissal from the media. But then, Representative Tim Burchett started speaking out. And Chairman James Comer, who, by the way, initially dismissed all of this completely, actually changed his mind. Why the flip? Well, because his own staff sat down and physically mapped these cases out. And when you literally lay the cases side by side, the timeline, the scientific fields, the specific facilities, a pattern emerges. And it's a pattern so undeniably credible that the House Oversight Committee officially opened a formal investigation. Section 2. The Wall of Silence. So, beyond all the congressional hearings and mapping out data points, there's a really haunting human element to the story that we can't ignore. There's this heartbreaking contrast between what the families asked for and what they actually got. I mean, think about it. They just wanted simple human answers. They wanted the return of personal belongings, maybe with a little context, and just some basic follow-up contact, really just normal closure. But the harsh reality, they were met with absolute silence. Phone calls were never returned. Personal belongings would just randomly arrive in unexplained boxes. Official rulings were delivered in these cold, formal letters with zero follow-up. One family member even described getting that devastating call that their loved one was gone, and then nothing. Immediate, complete institutional silence. No assigned case officer, no point of contact, just an absolute void. And then you hear specific anecdotes like this one from the BBC report. One grieving family member described being told directly not to speak publicly about the death. And the absolutely crucial point here is this. They weren't told to stay quiet because of some ongoing active police investigation. They were just told not to speak, period. This shared experience among the different families is just chilling because
Let's be honest, this doesn't look like the behavior of a government dealing with standard, unrelated tragedies. It looks exactly like the behavior of a government aggressively managing information. Multiple families described this exact same feeling, and I think it's captured perfectly in this quote. Somewhere, someone knows exactly what happened and has decided that the families don't need to know. Man, that is the true tragedy here. That is the exact thought that keeps these families awake at 3 a.m. They are left to endlessly wonder what exactly is being managed so tightly and why their loved ones were the ones who had to disappear for it to stay that way. Section 3. The unacknowledged connection. Let's move to and see how this builds, kind of widening our lens back out to the larger systemic issue here, because this is exactly what separates the situation from literally every other missing person story. We have to look at the exact intersection of these scientific fields. Like we established earlier, these were not random people. They were highly specialized experts, and their combined expertise, advanced propulsion systems, nuclear material handling, and biological systems right at the intersection of defense and aerospace is incredibly specific. When you combine those three distinct fields, they point to one very specific, highly classified category of research, a category that the US government has actually officially acknowledged exists, but has never ever fully explained to the public. And that category, it's the reverse engineering of non-human technology. Now look, I am not dictating conclusions here. I'm just impartially presenting the exact same intersection of data that prompted the current congressional investigations in the first place. As testified under oath before Congress by Intelligence Officer David Grush, a highly classified program exists to study retrieved craft and materials that are completely unlike anything in human engineering. And think about it, if you're reverse engineering technology you don't fully understand, you absolutely need physicists, you need aerospace engineers, and you need biologists who can study materials that might interact with living systems in ways conventional science just can't explain. This right here is the unacknowledged connection between these 10 missing or deceased scientists. Which brings us to the ultimate, really inescapable question. If something goes wrong in a program like that, or if people see a little too much, what happens to them? These families did not ask to be part of some grand conspiracy theory. They just asked for simple human answers about what happened to the people they loved. And they've been denied those answers by the very institutions their loved ones dedicated their entire careers to. So I'm leaving you with the exact same question the House Oversight Committee is asking right now. What did these 10 people know? If you want to follow this investigation as it develops, make sure to subscribe to this explainer. The names of the scientists are actually starting to surface, and the research links are being officially traced as we speak. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think these cases are connected? And honestly, will these families ever get the answers they deserve?